It is my pleasure to welcome you to this accountability series and provide an update on the progress made by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and its agencies during the half year 2026. The lands and natural resource sector remains a critical pillar of Ghana's economic transformation agenda. It contributes immensely to national revenue mobilization, job creation, industrial development, environmental sustainability, and the overall well-being of our citizens. Guided by government's commitment to responsible resource governance, value addition, environmental stewardship, and inclusive growth, the ministry has continued to implement a wide range of policies, programs, and projects aimed at unlocking the full potential of our lands, forests, and minerals, and other related natural resources. From January to June this year, notable progress has been made across the forestry, the mining, and the lands subsectors. These achievements reflect the collective efforts of government, our agencies, development partners, traditional authorities, local communities, and private sector stakeholders. I wish to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to all our stakeholders for their continued partnership and support. Together, we will continue to build a natural resource sector that delivers lasting benefits for present and future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, the following are the key achievements of the subsectors, and I'll start with the forestry subsector. I'm sure you are aware that despite the immense contribution of forestry subsector to the national economy, the sector continues to face deforestation and forest degradation with dire consequences to our existence. To address these issues, a number of strategic actions have been undertaken by the ministry. We'll start with the first very important one, the Tree for Life Reforestation Initiative. This flagship program initiative was launched by His Excellency President John Mahama, and this program seeks to restore degraded forest reserves and mine out areas and transform them into ecologically functional landscapes. The impact of the program remains a significant intervention in government's aggressive environmental restoration agenda. In 2025 alone, about 31 million seedlings were planted. In fact, our target was 30, we exceeded it. And we achieved a success rate of 50 to 78% in the northern savanna and the 65 to 85% recorded in the high forest zone, resulting in the restoration of approximately 23,600 hectares of degraded landscapes. Based on this success, the ministry is maintaining the planting target of 30 million seedlings this year, which we commenced on the 5th of June until the end of the rainy season. To support the implementation, the Forestry Commission has engaged and deployed 2,719 youth forest champions who are actively involved in nursery operations, seedling production, site preparation, tree planting, maintenance, wildfire prevention, and protection of forest reserves. The general public is encouraged to join this national campaign of tree planting and nurturing to make Ghana green. I want to use this opportunity to express the ministry's profound gratitude to corporate Ghana and other stakeholders who have supported this initiative. Second, on the forestry is addressing illegal mining in our forest reserve. Ladies and gentlemen, in our determination to protect our forests from illegal mining activities, the ministry, working closely with the Forestry Commission and other stakeholders, intensified enforcement operations within forest reserves. And these are the results. Just in the last 6 months, we arrested 258 suspects, demobilized 6 excavators, 1,225 pumping machines were seized. We demobilized 765 Shamfar machines. We destroyed 35 tricycles. Motorbikes that were seized were 212. Structures destroyed 430, and gold detectors that we seized was 40. All this in the forest reserve alone. And I'm happy to tell you, today I'm not here to tell you about red zones because we have not had any red zone, which means that government supporting the Forestry Commission is firmly in control of our forests. wildlife resource management regulations. As part of efforts to strengthen wildlife conservation and management, the Ministry, in collaboration with the Forestry Commission, is developing a legislative instrument to give effect to Wildlife Resource Management Act 1115. The legislative instrument, when approved, will provide legal backing, operational guidelines for community resource management areas, we call them CREMA, which has now become a model for engaging communities, landowners in sustainable forest management. And then we already have talked briefly about the reclamation in minor areas. The ministry, working with private sector, has embarked on an aggressive strategy to reclaim degraded minor areas and transform them into ecological zones. The last time we were here, we talked about how huge that responsibility is in terms of how much we have to reclaim on this destroy line. In partnership with private sector, I can tell you that just last year we reclaimed 1,335 acres of degraded land. And this was done in the Ashanti region. We have gotten commitment from private sector to undertake more reclamation, and we are targeting another 1,500 reclamation this year. And this in addition to the government's own reclamation effort of 960 acres in selected area registry. So we hope to improve those numbers. On ecotourism promotion and revenue diversification, one of the key priorities of government is to maximize revenue from forest and wildlife resources. To achieve this, the ministry, through the Forestry Commission, is improving ecotourism facilities within our national parks and resource reserves. Our focus this year will be on the completion of the 120-seater picnic area and 10-unit chalet at the Shire Hills Resource Reserve. Additionally, 20-room tourist accommodation and restaurant at the Mole Park will be completed. Let me say that this is a huge opportunity for private sector partnership with the Forestry Commission, and our doors are open for those discussions. We want Ghanaians to visit our forest reserve and travel in with families, and we think that we can open that opportunity. Another key achievement is the issuance of forest law enforcement government and trade licenses. We call it FLET licenses. As you may recall, Ghana in August 2025 became the first country in Africa and second only in the world to qualify for the issuance of FLET licenses. Since then, Ghana has issued 600 licenses to 22 destinations in the European Union. At the end of the second quarter of this year, we had issued 411 licenses. The FLET license has enhanced Ghana's credibility in the timber trade internationally, because this FLET license simply says that Ghana's timber is sourced sustainably and from very approved legal sources, and that's what this FLET license does. It's giving Ghana a lot of mileage in the international arena. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very important news in the forestry sector as well. I'm happy to announce a historic cabinet decision taken on the 24th of June 2026 to revoke executive instrument EI 144 as amended by EI 234, effectively ensuring that the Achimota forest retains its original status as a forest reserve and providing ecological safety zone for Accra and its environments. And you have to clap for that. If you think about it, this is the only last man standing forest cover in Accra, and President Mahama is determined to protect it at all costs. Ladies and gentlemen, I now move to the Minerals Commission. The mining subsector recorded significant achievements aimed at strengthening regulations, enhancing value addition, improving safety, and combating illegal mining. First is the passage of the Minerals and Mining Royalties Regulations 2025, LI 2517. A major legislative milestone this year is the passage of the Minerals and Mining Royalties Regulation, which establishes a sliding scale royalty payment, presents strategically adaptive framework for both the Republic as the resource owner and mining companies as contractors and investors. This regime ensures the government captures significant revenue during periods of rising commodity prices or production booms, while conversely alleviating financial strain on companies during downturns by reducing rates to prevent negative cash flow, encourage continuous operations, and guarantee job security. And this is very, very important. And so the regulations is a win-win for not only the people of Ghana but for the industry as well. We want to ensure there's continuity of operations at all time, while government also takes advantage when there's a boom. We have also reviewed the minerals and mining policy that has been in place since 2014. I'm happy to announce that the minerals and mining policy that has been in place since 2014 has been revised and approved by Cabinet this year. This policy seeks to indigenize mining by strengthening local content through domestic value addition to minerals, improve linkages to manufacturing industry, and deal decisively with the menace of illegal mining and the protection of our environment. Another important milestone is the review of the Minerals and Mining Act that has been in place since 2006 at 703. Following extensive stakeholder engagement, the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 at 703, which has been operational for over 20 years, has also been reviewed and endorsed by Cabinet for onward transmission to Parliament for approval. Currently, it's being gazetted. The revised bill provides an updated, coherent, and forward-looking legal regime to ensure that mining contributes immensely to national development. And I'll give you some few highlights on some of the changes that you will see in this new act. The act introduces district mining committees, and forever we are going to finally empower communities where the mining takes place by saying that anybody who is going to be engaged in licenses will begin the licensing process with the communities. They will give the recommendations before you come to Accra. We have removed reconnaissance and prospecting licenses and replaced it with exploration licenses fixed for 5 years maximum. Why? For a long time the industry has been occupied by speculators who have simply taken licenses and occupied the whole of Ghana and do nothing. We want serious investment that are focused on the serious business of mining exploration. And so there are timelines in this exploration period. A 2-year, we will see your work program, and then we will extend it for a maximum of 5 years. If for 5 years you can't act, we will take it from you. So there's so much exciting new provision. We have also limited the fixed period for 20 years, and we have introduced community development agreement. There's always the communities complain about development, and so every mining lease will also have another additional community development agreement that has been signed between the mining company and the community. And so it's not going to be no longer a choice of a mining company who will decide, oh, I'll give them some water. The community will negotiate in those mining agreements with community agreements with their critical needs, and that will be agreed voluntarily by the mining company and the community. All of these innovative ideas are going to be in the new law. Oh, you can clap for that. Local content in mining. Our vision for local content is to ensure that Ghana's mineral wealth creates lasting prosperity for Ghanaians. We are committed to building a mining industry where our people are not merely participants, but owners, investors, innovators, and manufacturers. Through deliberate policy, government is promoting Ghanaian ownership, value addition, technology transfer, local enterprise development, and sustainable job creation. And that's why this vision was informed by the maiden mining local content summit that we held in Takoradi, and I'm very proud that His Excellency the President graced the occasion, and this is how important this issue of local empowerment is to the President. Oh, we can clap for President Mahama. Infrastructure development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, significant progress has been made in the delivery of critical infrastructure projects within mining communities. During the period under review, the Mineral Ministry through the Minerals Commission successfully completed a number of key projects, including the 500-seater sports complex at Kenyasi, the Savannah Regional Office in Bole, Daman, Bibiani, and Akimoda districts. These projects are expected to enhance service delivery, promote community development, and ensure operational presence of the Minerals Commission in these areas. We will now move to the deployment of blue water gas. Government also strengthened water body protection against illegal mining through the recruitment, training, deployment of an additional 452 blue water gas, bringing the total deployments across 8 regions to 2,069 personnel. I have to say that the blue water gas is a very important part of this fact, and President Mahama is convinced that communities in riverine areas must be led by their own young people who believe that we must protect our water bodies and turn them blue. In strengthening institutional oversight, to strengthen oversight of the small-scale mining, 4,300 earth moving and mining equipment units were registered at the Tema port, while 1,864 tracking devices were installed on this equipment. 52 mercury pollution abatement training programs were also conducted. This is a very important achievement. Remember, hitherto, people were just bringing excavators the way they wanted. That's no longer the case. And thanks to the collaborative role of the Minister of Transport and the Minister of Finance, we are working with GRA. And I can tell you that we still have over 3,000 excavators waiting for the owners to pick. But that's not even important. We are close to 2,000 excavators that have been in the system, but we've tracked them. And they are geofenced and being monitored 24 hours a day. And so if you tell us you are taking it to Newmont in Achim, we will follow it. And 24 hours, the Minerals Commission tracking room has men and women who are tracking these excavators. We believe ultimately our goal is to make sure we track all of these excavators across the country. So we are making progress. We now move to the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operational Secretariat, NIMOS. Ladies and gentlemen, the fight against illegal mining remains one of the ministry's highest priorities. During the period under review, NIMOS sustained nationwide operational tempo against illegal mining across 6 endemic regions, namely Ashanti, Western North, Eastern, Bono, Ahafo, and Central. A total of 200 operations were executed across 53 districts, recording an operational strike rate of over 84%. I think we can appear in steam. The Secretariat conducted 169 enforcement operations targeting illegal mining sites, forest reserve, river bodies, and concession encroachments. The combined output of these operations is summarized as follows: 207 suspects comprising 161 Ghanaians within the last 6 months, and 46 foreign nationals have all been apprehended. The suspects have been processed and handed over to the security agencies. Between January and June this year, 78 excavators have been seized and 90 excavators has been demobilized. Roughly almost 170 of them. So total. 2,800 shamfans were destroyed on river bodies across the endemic regions. 1,244 makeshift structures associated with illegal mining camps were also destroyed. 302 water pumps, 31 vehicles, 72 motorbikes, 18 generators, 2 payloaders, 5 gold detector machines, 3 outboard motors, 3 weighing scales, and 2 mini car washing machines were all retrieved from active and abandoned sites. 112 pump action rifles, 2 sidearms, 2 locally manufactured rifles, and 1,637 rounds of assorted ammunition have all been retrieved just in the last 6 months. You can just imagine the war we are in. And let's clap for NIMOS. Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program, COMSDEP. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry during the period under review made progress towards transforming the small-scale mining sector through formalization of mining operations, capacity building, digital innovation, and skills development. Collaboration with the Minerals Commission, the EPA, the Department of Cooperatives, and the Ghana Revenue Authority, COMSDEP has conducted a nationwide registration and assessment exercise, successfully registering over 9,000 miners and 700 cooperatives across 8 mining regions to promote responsible, legal, and sustainable mining operations while strengthening regulatory compliance. Concurrently, comprehensive training programs on responsible mining practices have been conducted in the Western, Eastern, and Bono regions, covering environmental stewardship, occupational health and safety, regulatory adherence, mercury-free processing technologies, and others. The point about COMSDEP is that in the final analysis, mining is a legal business, and so anybody who wants to engage in it must do it sustainably and responsibly. And the only way we can reach that destination is training and convincing young people and people who want to engage in mining to do it responsibly and sustainably. And that is exactly this focus in this area. We are also not only doing that, we are also giving them additional skills that empower especially women in this area. Ghana Geological Survey Authority. The passage of a regulation for GGSA Act 928. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority has been an authority for 10 years without legislative instruments. Happy to say that has changed. This greatly has hampered the effective and efficient implementation of GGSA Act 928. In line with the provisions of the Ghana Geological Survey Authority Act 2016 Act 928, 7 regulations were developed within this period and establish standards, strengthen compliance, and provide regulatory architecture required for effective geoscientific operations. Following extensive stakeholder consultations, the regulations propose to operationalize the GGSA Act and has successfully been laid before Parliament. I'm also very happy to inform you that we've done something very important that will protect the people of Ghana. That is the upgrade of the National Seismic Network. Since the last investment in 2015, the National Seismic Network has suffered worsening conditions due to the lack of needed investment for timely maintenance of the facility for effective earthquake disaster risk management. Recognizing the poor condition of the country's seismic monitoring infrastructure, government this year supported a comprehensive modernization of the National Seismic Monitoring Network. The installation of the upgraded equipment has been successfully completed and commissioned. The project has installed nationwide real-time seismic monitoring, modernized dam safety monitoring systems, upgraded the National Seismological Observatory Data Center, and strengthened the country's seismic early warning and rapid response capabilities, and enhanced Ghana's overall disaster risk reduction and national resilience. What a timing! This is so important. We need to make sure that these systems are in place and are effective, and to make sure that we can give Ghanaians the early warning signs. Everybody knows the history of Accra and earthquake potentials, and so this is a very welcome news. And I think we can clap again for President John Dramani Mahama. Geological investigations for small-scale mining. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of government's efforts to promote responsible and sustainable small-scale mining, the authority, with the support of the Ghana Gold Board and the Mineral Development Fund, I'm talking about the GGSA, has embarked on a mineral exploration within designated areas earmarked for small-scale mining operations. I've always said people are digging everywhere because they don't know where the gold is. And the only way we can really get people to focus mining is to identify where the gold is so we can really keep them there. And that is what is driving this effort. And so I like the collaboration we had with the Gold Board and the Mineral Development Fund in supporting the Ghana Geological Survey Authority in identifying mineralized areas. I move to the Mineral Development Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mineral Development Fund continue to advance this mandate of ensuring that mining communities derive tangible and sustainable benefit from the country's mineral resources through targeted interventions in environmental restoration, community development, research, and economic diversification. The fund continued to strengthen evidence-based decision-making within the mining sector. During the period, 2 research papers reached the peer review stage and are awaiting publications. The fund has also secured commitment authorization to implement the following projects in 2026. The construction of 3 small town water supply systems and 16 solar-powered boreholes across mining districts. Construction of new school infrastructure projects in 6 mining districts. Construction of health centers in 4 mining districts to improve access to quality primary healthcare services for mining affected communities. And the construction of market facilities in 6 mining districts, providing improved commercial spaces for traders and small business operators in all these in mining areas. We now move to GIADEC, Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation. We just established the Tama Industrial Park. Ladies and gentlemen, government remains firmly committed to expanding Ghana's downstream aluminium industry as a key pillar of its industrialization agenda. In furtherance of this objective, GIADEC, in partnership with the Tama Development Corporation and VACO and the Arise Integrated Industrial Platforms, is advancing the establishment of the Tama Industrial Parks Limited, a joint venture entity tasked with developing a world-class integrated industrial park within the Tama heavy industrial area. The project is expected to be developed within the next 36 months. With respect to aluminium refinery, GIADEC has intensified its engagement with key investors for the establishment of a 2 million metric ton per annum aluminium refinery in Ghana. Further, GIADEC is also engaging investors to develop the aluminium 4 plant within the industrial park. The facility is expected to produce between 45 and 50,000 tons of highly quality aluminium foil once completed. Move to Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development, GISDEC. The Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation, GISDEC, continue to make significant progress towards the realization of Ghana's vision of establishing a fully integrated and globally competitive iron and steel industry in Ghana. A major milestone during the period under review was the successful completion of the advanced mineral resource estimation on the Asato Jamurenu iron ore block in the Oti region. Independent lab analysis has confirmed high-grade deposits, providing bankable feasibility reports that position Ghana as a credible destination for multi-million-dollar investment in mining and beneficiation. And this is really Ghana's future. Can you imagine when we start adding value to aluminum, to this steel industry? It means that all the cooking pans and all the things related to iron and steel will stop their importation, and that will really transform our country. And that's why the president is so focused on this area. We now move to the Volta Aluminium Company Limited, the sleeping giant, as I call it. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Volta Aluminium Company Limited, VACO, recorded a strong operational and financial performance during the first half of 2026, reflecting the positive impact of ongoing efforts to improve efficiency, enhance production, and strengthen the company's competitiveness within the aluminium industry. Key development impacting performance. In line with its excellent the President's vision of promoting value addition in industrial transformation, VACO reached a historic milestone last year with the installation of its first ever value addition bill. First, the facility is currently in test production phase, manufacturing electrical grade aluminium rods for both the domestic and European markets. This marks a significant shift in VACO's evolution from a producer of primary aluminium to a manufacturer of high value added products. Once fully operational, the rod mill will deepen local industrialization, support downstream manufacturing, create sustainable jobs, increase export earnings, and reduce reliance on imported aluminium products, and strengthen Ghana's competitiveness across the global aluminium value chain. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the land subsector. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the land subsector remains central to Ghana's socio-economic development, providing the foundation for investment, infrastructure development, housing, agriculture, and effective land governance. Preparation of Regulation for Land Act 2022 Act 1036. To facilitate the effective implementation of this landmark act, the Ministry, in collaboration with the Office of the Attorney General, are currently engaging key stakeholders on the regulations. These regulations are critical to give effect to this critical legislation. Once completed, to be submitted to Parliament for approval, we are optimistic that the regulations will receive parliamentary approval before the end of 2026, thereby providing the legal framework necessary to give effect to the Land Act. There's so much that is in place in that act, and we believe that this regulation is very critical, and that's why we are working day and night to make sure it's passed this year. We move to digitalization and automation of service delivery. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of government's broader digital transformation objectives under the Reset in Ghana agenda, the Lands Commission has continued to make significant progress in digitalization of land administration services. Consequently, the Commission has enhanced the functionalities of the Enterprise Land Information System (ELIS), a digital platform designed to modernize and streamline operations of the Lands Commission. Currently, ELIS is operational in 9 regional offices: Greater Accra, Eastern, Western, Western North, OT, Bono East, Volta, Savannah, Northeast regions. I am pleased to announce that the Commission has successfully developed and operationalized digital workflows for all major land administration services within this region. Consequently, clients can now access a range of land services. For example, members of the public can apply online for official searches on land parcels without physically visiting these Land Commission offices. But we are not stopping there. We have now instituted what we call SLAP, Strategic Land Administration Reform Project. This is a landmark project that I am determined, working with the Lands Commission and our team, to implement to the fullest. And I can tell you that already the Ministry of Finance, on the direction of the President, has allocated 67% of money that otherwise would have gone to the Consolidated Fund, dedicated for this project. The key components of this project are to improve maps and spatial data infrastructure, digital transformation of the Lands Commission and Office of the Administration of Stool lands, systematic titling and national cadastral, strengthening customary land administration and customary land secretariat. If you really note, one of the biggest problems we've had is how stool lands are managed. This Land Act finally allow us to work with our traditional authority to demarcate land boundaries. It's no longer going to be every stool land will have a boundary and will have a customary land office, and that is the goal, to make sure that we can now deal with these systemic litigations and confusion. And this project is very critical as part of the efforts we are working on. We are also working with the boundary demarcation and boundary data integration. We are also focused on land banks and investment ready land information. On land bank, as part of government's committed to promoting industrialization and private sector led investment, the ministry is supporting the implementation of the Land Bank project, a strategic government initiative aimed at facilitating access to land for large-scale oil palm cultivation and value-added processing. I'm sure the Minister of Finance in his mid-year budget will talk a lot about this strategic initiative of the President. And the truth of the matter is that if we want to create a mass of jobs that we need is in the agricultural sector, and that's really the focus. The project is designed to identify, acquire, and secure suitable lands for investment in commercial oil palm plantations and related processing industries, including mills and other downstream value addition enterprises. This initiative is expected to address one of the major constraints to agricultural investment by providing investors with secure and readily accessible land for large-scale production. We now talk about the reforms in the administration of state lands. As you know, this has been one of the things before His Excellency the President took office, and we've taken very important steps to address the issue of government and state lands. One of the major governance reforms undertaken by the ministry has been the implementation of cabinet-approved recommendations to restore integrity, transparency, and accountability in the administration of public or state lands. We have comprehensively reviewed the processes governing the allocation and leasing of state lands by introducing a revised and standardized public land application form, Form 5. It used to be the case that every region had its own Form 5. We have also strengthened internal approval processes and ensuring that all allocations are subject to enhanced oversight and strict compliance to established guidelines. To protect the national interest and guarantee value for money, government has also proposed a new premium framework that aligns state land values with prevailing market prices, and initiated the publication of market valuation data to improve transparency and establish public land protection task force. This market valuation data is very important. It shouldn't be the case that when you are buying government land in cantonments and you are well connected, you have a different price. The whole world must know the value of land, the value in Dansoman, the value in Kaneshi, the value in cantonment, and it's public on the Lands Commission website. As part of its revenue mobilization mandate, the office recorded significant growth in Stool. I'm talking about the Stool lands now. The Office of the Administrator of Stool lands continued to play a critical role in strengthening customary land administration, enhancing revenue mobilization, and promoting accountability in the management of Stool land resource during the period under review. As part of its revenue mobilization mandate, the office recorded significant growth in Stool land revenue collections during the period. By the end of June 2026, a total of 265 million has been mobilized against an annual target of 351 million, representing about 75% of the target. Oh, we can clap for Stool lands. They are doing well. I don't know how they are doing. In line with government's commitment to improving public access to land administration services, the office expanded its operational presence across the country through the establishment of 4 new offices out of the 5 targeted for the year: in Dema in the Ahafo region, Abesim in the Bono region, Kwabenya in Gan East, and Amomole in the Gan South district of the Greater Accra region. In accordance with Section 14 of the Land Act at 1036, a new customary land secretariat was established within the Sunyani traditional area and upgraded the Mim and Hwidiem land secretariat as well. These initiatives are contributing to improve land governance, enhanced record management, and the reduction of related disputes through application of alternative dispute resolution. We now move to the Ghana Boundary Commission, and then I will conclude. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Ghana Boundary Commission continues to make progress in safeguarding the territorial integrity of our nation and strengthening cross-border cooperation during the first half of the year. The Commission and its Ivorian counterparts have jointly reaffirmed 150 kilometers of its land boundaries, resulting in the construction of 37 boundary pillars by the 48 engineer regiments of the Ghanaian forces. An additional 200 kilometers will be reaffirmed by the end of the year. This is very important. We can clap for the Boundary Commission. Remember, since the dispute on boundary with Cote d'Ivoire, we've turned that unfortunate incident into a strong partnership, and we are working to basically strengthen our partnership, and we've created all these boundaries that has been described. The Boundary Commission of Ghana and Burkina Faso has also held a series of bilateral meetings, set up a joint technical committee for boundary reaffirmation, and has developed a work plan for the construction of our shared boundary pillars before the close of the year. Again, the Commission, in conjunction with the Ghana Navy, has conducted an independent maritime patrol of Ghana's eastern maritime boundary in the second quarter of 2026, aimed at safeguarding our territory, and will be conducting a joint patrol on the western boundary with its Ivorian counterparts in the third quarter of this year, in line with the 2017 International Tribunal of the Law of the Sea ruling. The goal is to make sure that we have engaged all our neighbors and that we have dealt decisively with the issues of boundaries with our neighbors, so we can have a very peaceful coexistence. And so, ladies and gentlemen, 6 months, it's a lot that has happened with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and its agencies, and I think we can be proud, and I'm very happy. Oh, the health CEOs, you can stand up and let the PPC you help me. Oh, stand up, Mr. Brown and your team. Thank you. You can wave. Thank you, great job. And ladies and gentlemen, I have my chairman of the Lands Committee. He's been giving us a support. We can also clap for him. And so, to conclude, I have presented today not merely an account of my ministry performance, but a statement of purpose, from restoring our forests and protecting our rivers, to reforming our mining laws, modernizing land administration, and strengthening our natural resource institutions. One message is very clear: Ghana's natural resources will no longer be managed for the benefit of the few, but for the prosperity of all Ghanaians. There comes a defining moment in the life of every nation when its people must choose whether to protect their inheritance or surrender it to lawlessness. That moment is now. The fight against illegal mining is a defining environmental battle our generation must fight. Our rivers are not for sale. Our forests are not expendable. Our mineral wealth is a sacred national inheritance that we have a duty to protect. Let me be clear: the era of impunity is over. Government will continue to pursue every individual, every financier, every criminal syndicate that profits from the destruction of our environment. The law will be applied without fear nor favor. But this battle cannot be won by government alone. It is Ghana's fight. I call on all traditional leaders, religious leaders, miners, security officers, media houses, communities, citizens to stand on the side of our nation. As Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah once put it, the forces that unite us are intrinsic and greater than the superimposed influences that keep us apart on these very issues I've talked about today. The forces that unite us are intrinsic. Today, those forces must unite us to reject greed, reject complicity, and defend our national heritage. History will judge our generation by how we responded to this defining challenge. Let it be said that we chose courage over complacency, unity over division, and patriotism over personal gain. The battle against illegal mining is difficult, but the Ghanaian spirit is stronger. We will not retreat. We will not relent. We will not surrender. Together we shall reclaim our rivers, restore our forests, protect our natural wealth, and secure a greener, stronger, and more prosperous Ghana for generations yet on board. May God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.